one of the first meetings of the existentialist philosophy reading group I attend. The reading was Existentialism is a Humanism by Jean-Paul Sartre. And I told the organizer that I found it boring and uninteresting. And he told me that was the first time anyone had ever told him that. He said he's got complaints that Sartre is pretentious or tedious or obnoxious, but never boring. And I think I got the reading based on the discussion that we had, but the questions Sartre was raising just weren't interesting to me. And I've talked to other people who know Sartre who will say that isn't one of his better readings. And obviously a reading group limited by the length of what you can read, right? But I've been thinking about that with respect to this book, Sapiens, by Yuval Noah Harari, where there are a lot of people who love this book and a lot of people who hate this book. And just in terms of the camps, I should be with the people who love it, because the people who hate it are the ones who hate it for being a pop book. And I have been a pretty strong defender of the value of pop books. And my father also raved about this book. However, when I read it, I was like, at the end, what is the point of this? And my father, when he was telling me about it, he was talking about Harari's idea of the cognitive revolution. But that is like one chapter in this book, or at least I think Harari might have had several cognitive revolutions, but the one that I'm interested in is the one that took us from Stone Age hunter-gatherers to developing complex agricultural societies. And what kind of changes did we have to get there? And there's not a lot about that in this book. And then the rest of it, my reading, my understanding, I honestly don't remember much about it. And I've talked about how I tend to remember things if they're new frameworks or if they clash with frameworks I have. And I think reading this book, it was either stuff that I knew or stuff that didn't really clash with frameworks that I already use. But I don't know. I wish my father were still alive for a lot of reasons, but one is to ask him, because he, again, raved about this book, mostly focusing on the cognitive revolution aspect. But I feel like Harari didn't really add anything new, and that there are a lot of writers who have contributed more in terms of trying to figure out what led to that breakthrough. One of them behind me is Derek Bickerton in his book Adam's Tongue, but there's been a number. And so I don't know, is this the point of this book just sort of supposed to be a summary of sort of how human civilization has developed with what would be new information for a lot of people? Or am I missing something big? Is there like a big theme in this book that I am just completely overlooking? So I've been thinking about this because it's come up in comments and conversations. And again, this one is weird because the people who love the book should be my people, right? And the people who hate the book, I would generally be opposed to. And I don't hate it. I just, at the end, I'm like, I don't get what it was about. What was the point? So, yeah, wanted to confess, if there's a good reason to reread it, I might. But my impression is it's just like maybe a general summary, and that's the point. And like with Sartre, even if there was stuff that was new, it wasn't really surprising in a way that struck me as useful. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Magpie, and I'll see y'all in the next one.